Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates and another Star Wars Squadrons video. In this video I want to bring up a couple of new snippets from Jay, the community manager, who has been answering some questions that popped up after the gameplay reveal, as well as plenty of comments from you guys on my videos that I wanted to bring up and discuss a little bit, as there were some things that were unclear, some things that I didn't even understand that I wanted to clear up in this video and so on. So let's get straight into it. And before we get into your comments, let's talk a little bit about some things that Jay has responded to out on Reddit in regards to Star Wars Squadrons. First thing was the AI. They said that the AI was initially used in Battlefront 2 and has now been repurposed for Star Wars Squadrons, and a lot of people were worried that the AI was going to be too simple, simply because the AI in Battlefront 2 for ships is pretty basic, to say the least. But to that he responded saying, just to clear this up, we took the foundation of the AI from the hard work done by the team over at Criterion. They did a solid amount of legwork, but it's far from the same system at this point. The AI has been developed, modified and built upon over the past years, now able to do all sorts of things that it couldn't before, including how they interact with capital ships / flagships and each other. And this isn't even counting Squadron AI for offline fleet battles. So I think although the AI was very basic in Battlefront 2, they've had multiple years now to improve upon it, so it's definitely not going to be the same AI, but it's probably going to be a lot more advanced. There was also a lot of people who commented on the capital ship scale, saying that the Star Destroyer and the MC-85 Star Cruiser seemed to be a little bit too small, but Jay said that he chatted with Ian about this. Our ships are 1-to-1 with the actual scale and measurements of each one. However, games and media in the past have made them larger and smaller, so that could be why they feel a bit off. And I think especially in the movies they haven't really kept the scale of these kind of ships, strictly the same in all scenes, which is why I also thought they seemed a little bit small, but I trust that with Lucasfilm being involved with these kind of games, they definitely have to stick to every little measurement being completely canon. Another interesting comment from Jay in regards to capital ships duking it out, saying that any enemy ships in range of one another will fight. Doesn't matter if they are big or small. It gets really cool when the two flagships start duking it out. I don't think I ever experienced that myself during my limited playtime, because one team usually took out the other team's capital ship before they got close enough to actually fight. But I can definitely see that happening at the end of the round if no one has successfully eliminated the capital ship, and that's definitely something I want to see. Next up, I wanted to bring up a couple of your comments from my videos on Star Wars Squadrons. The first one being, the cockpit looks quite overwhelming. Learning how it works and overall mastering it sounds like a cool challenge. So yes, that is definitely the case. It was tricky to learn everything, and not only to actually keep track of all the elements in the cockpit, but also master the different mechanics such as the power management, the shield angling, the targeting and everything like that. And that's also something I wanted to bring up. In my previous video I complained that I thought the enemy HP was a little bit unclear, but that's because obviously it's in the targeting computer, which I didn't look at. So you can see down here the actual health of the enemies. I'm just so used to the health showing up like on whatever target you're shooting at in pretty much every other game. So personally, I still think I would have preferred that. I prefer UI elements over the enemies, but I totally understand that most of you do not agree with that. I saw a lot of comments saying that I disagree with you. I don't want any pop-ups of how much damage you're doing to the enemy ships, which I think is probably for the best of the game. It's just something I want every game I play. I really like to look at the numbers, and I like to know exactly how much damage I'm dealing at every certain time, so I know what's effective and not. But that's not really very immersive, is it? That's not how it works when you're flying in Star Wars in general, so I totally respect all of your opinions, and I do agree that I'm probably in the minority when it comes to wanting to see that. But again, targeting computer below, you can see how much health your target has. That's something I completely missed when I was playing the game, as stupid as that sounds. Is it just me, or do all the fonts look really off? I have to agree with that. One of the first things I noticed when playing the game was that the UI, although limited since most of it is in the cockpit, felt very basic and kind of old, like it was from a 10 or 20-year-old game. I'm not sure if this is how it's gonna look when it's final, or if this was just like a beta version of the UI, but I agree that the UI, for instance, in Battlefront 2 looks better than the UI in Star Wars Squadrons, in my opinion. So that alone made the game feel older, although the actual mechanics and everything like that was way better than something like Battlefront 2. So hopefully the UI is something that's gonna be improved to the launch of the game. It's so painful watching all these YouTubers just cut, thrust and shoot at capital ships' shields, then just get destroyed, lol. Yeah, I did that mistake multiple times, as you can see, and that was completely stupid. I really wish I had more time to play during the session. Again, I think it was 1.5 round of fleet battles. So as you can see, every time I stop and fire at the ship, which in my head sounded like a good idea, I got stuck in their tractor beam and then just got absolutely destroyed. So what you need to do is go at full speed and try to do bomb runs basically with your missiles and blasters. Although you might be dealing a little bit less damage, you'll actually survive and you can do them over and over and over instead of dying like I was doing. So yeah, good point. You shouldn't stop like I was doing. It's just an example that I'm, again, a pretty bad pilot. Is the camera locked to cockpit? Can we change it to third person? And no, you cannot. This is a first-person only game, and I've seen mixed reactions on this. Some people are very disappointed and don't want to play in if you can't play in third person, whereas a lot of people are happy that it's first person. And I think this game, for the better of it, should be first person only, because otherwise, as soon as you have a third-person camera, that gives the player an advantage, which means if you're playing competitively, you're gonna have to play in third person and lose the immersion of a first-person cockpit. So it just should only be first-person cockpit view, in my opinion. You can still have free look and kind of look around the cockpit, but you cannot have a third-person view. And I think most people probably agree that that's for the better of the game. Lastly, someone asked, did you purposely disable the music when you were playing? Yes, unfortunately, I had to do that. As I know I said previously that maybe I should give it a shot to play with the music just to get that full immersion, but they specifically told us before the event that you should disable the music, otherwise you're almost guaranteed to get a claim on YouTube. So I had to do that, but I really want to replay especially that prologue with the music on, just to see how that feels. But yep, that's really all I've got for you now. If you have any further questions that you want me to answer, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.